Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Geez, over the weekend, there were dozens of people killed in tornadoes from the middle of the country eastward. Really strong storms that went from west to east. The total so far is at least 40 dead. Really sad. Missouri was apparently the hardest hit, but there's quite a few states, 7 states that had death occur in them. Mississippi, Alabama for sure.
Yeah, it's widespread.
Really,
like
really
said,
sad.
Kansas, like the entire southern U.S., man, just got an onslaught over the weekend. You could just watch it marching across the radar. You're like, oh, please take cover, y'all. It's bad.
Around 80 tornadoes have been confirmed.
Yeah. There may be more because they've got to get on the ground and assess damage. And
yeah. It's weakening now, right? From what I hear, it's weakened, but still fairly dangerous. So pay attention if you're in, the tornado alley and they occur in your area. You might want to check on things today. We had a very bizarre dust storm. It was like, I don't know, what are we in the Sahara now? Is this a Martian dust storm? What do we have? How'd this happen?
It's weird because on March 4th, we had a yellow dust storm, and that was nasty. That was very windy. This one, there wasn't a lot of wind necessarily at the moment that the dust was happening. I mean, it's been windy.
Yeah.
But then when the dust came through, it was just like this nasty reddish. It's just so gross.
It was almost. It almost seemed like fog. It was that dense and thick, but just weird weather going on. Weather weirding.
Oh no.
Oh boy. Oh golly.
Okay, I guess
we've never had weird weather before.
Right.
This is a first. All right. So our thoughts and prayers are with all those who have been affected by these. And you, if you had property damage and all of that, it sucks. Trying to get insurance claims and all of that stuff that has to go with all this, just a nightmare. But we do have a brand new Pat Gray bingo sheet.
Oh,
to help get you through the week.
Where can we find this again?
It should be pinned to the top of our Twitter page, our X page, at Pat Unleashed.
Yes, sir.
So you'll find it there. And it starts in the upper left-hand corner. By the way, when you get a bingo, you just be the first to call 888-900-3393. And then you win $30 worth of merchandise from PatGrayShop.com and a dozen cookies from Kexi.com.
Boom.
It starts on the upper left-hand corner with In a World. Then we have Jeffy saying, your boy.
Yep.
Could be RFK Jr. Or who knows?
Who knows?
The Ugandan president.
Why are you gay?
Mm-hmm. Chris talking about a factory reset for Fetterman. I say promises made, promises kept. Okay. It's kind of a Trump thing, but I guess we do talk about that. On a weekly basis, we try to keep you updated on what he's done. Pat saying Doomkopf.
Yeah. There was some discussion between me and Just Too Muckenfutch on that one.
Yeah.
But, I guess you say that.
I guess I do.
She listens closer than I do.
Obama
no.
in Ireland?
Oh, no.
Ugh. Do have that.
Yeah, because it's St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Yeah.
And boy, Obama in Ireland, I mean, he's damn near a leprechaun.
Come on.
When he goes over there. Yeah, that was a fun trip.
Not coming to me.
Okay.
But it's where he goes, we'll find it. And it's top of the morning to you. Or something. I mean, it's really terrible. 'Tis a fine day.
I'm a Marxist.
What he says is, the sun is out.
Oh, yeah.
The sun is out?
Oh,
yeah.
God.
In a really heavy Irish brogue.
He's
so,
good.
You'll know it when you hear it. Keith?
Third worldification.
Representative Cleaver?
Oh, yeah.
Musky Moo Moo?
You muster moo moo moo.
Okay. Jeffy? Good. The song, What Side Are You On?
Oh, which side are you on?
You're going to want to kill this real
Which
soon.
side are you on?
It goes on and on. I sent the whole
Which
thing.
side are you on? Which side are you on?
Yeah, it's beautiful. So good. I mentioned The Coven.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, on The View. Pat Screech of some kind. Then me saying grown-ass man. Fauci.
I represent science.
Keith again.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Glenn.
I got some cattle. I'm driving to the town.
You didn't remember where that came from, actually.
Oh, really?
It's kind of fun, yeah. Jeffy defends something shady.
Oh, gosh. Free square.
Free square. Yep. Felipe Calderon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You might remember we'll send back them.
The former...
If somebody do that without permissions, we send back them.
Without permissions, we send back them. If you love it so much, why don't you marry it?
Awesome.
Chris shares an artist rendering. Okay. Me with an audible sniff. Hillary Rodham Clinton, I'm sick and tired.
Ugh, gosh. Let's just pretend
sure
we
I
heard
have
it.
that.
We can all hear it in our heads anyway. Just poor Bill.
I don't know. It'd take me a while to find it.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
I don't
fine.
remember what
I am sick and tired.
Yeah, whatever she's sick and tired of. I don't remember what she was sick and
She
tired
was
of.
sick and tired of challenging Bush.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Sick and tired of people
there it is.
who say that if you debate and you disagree with this administration, somehow you're
almost
not
made it.
patriotic. And we should stand up and say, we are Americans and we have a right to debate and disagree with this administration.
You found that, Chris? That came from you, right?
And we thank
Yeah.
you.
Good job. We were just about to move on.
We were trying.
Hillary free. Then Keith.
And stuff.
And I'll thank you not to mock. So that rounds out the bingo squares, the things phrases and things that you should be listening for.
The sun's coming
week.
out.
There it is.
Okay.
The sun's coming out.
The sun's coming out. I can feel it.
I can feel it.
So bingo starts right now. Okay.
Right now.
Right now.
Okay. After that. See, is what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, the U.S. military's been busy in the Middle East this past weekend. President Trump posted this. Today, I have ordered the United States military to launch decisive and powerful military action against the Houthi terrorists in Yemen. Good. They've waged an unrelenting campaign of piracy, violence, and terrorism against American and other ships, aircraft, and drones. Joe Biden's response was pathetically weak. So the unrestrained Houthis just kept going. It's been over a year since a U.S.-flagged commercial ship safely sailed through the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, or the Gulf of Aden.
Unacceptable.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
Rubio said over the past 18 months, it's basically been one every other day, whether it's a naval ship or a commercial ship. I mean, nearly 200 attacks on U.S. naval ships.
That's insane. That's
unacceptable.
insane.
And Biden did nothing, of course.
The last American warship to go through the Red Sea 4 months ago was attacked by the Houthis over a dozen times. Funded by Iran, the Houthi thugs have fired missiles at U.S. aircraft and targeted our troops and allies. These relentless assaults have cost the U.S. and world economy many billions of dollars, while at the same time putting innocent lives at risk. The Houthi attack on American vessels will not be tolerated. We'll use overwhelming lethal force until we've achieved our objective. The Houthis have choked off shipping in one of the most important waterways in the world, grinding vast swaths of global commerce to a halt and attacking the core principle of freedom of navigation upon which the international trade and commerce depends. Our brave warfighters are right now carrying out aerial attacks on the terrorist bases, leaders, and missile defenses to protect American shipping, air, and naval assets, and to restore navigational freedom. No terrorist force will stop American commercial and naval vessels from freely sailing the waterways of the world. Wow, that's great. Good. It's about time. I mean, of course, when we did nothing about it, they're going to continue to do it. I mean, I remember one sort of weak effort to...
Yeah, you're right.
We hit them once.
There was something,
remember that?
Wasn't there?
Yeah, there was one little thing, and then we let it go. So I thought maybe that stopped it. Apparently not.
Yeah.
Over a year since an American ship has sailed safely through that area. It's unacceptable. I mean, you've got to do something about that. And so we are. That's great. So we'll keep you posted on that as we get more information on that situation. In addition to the strikes on the Houthis, an ISIS leader was taken out by a drone in Iraq.
Oh, yeah, this is fun stuff. I like this because it's not one, but two.
Wow. So that apparently did the job.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. All right. Good. Interesting.
Game over.
Wow.
So, yeah, busy weekend.
Busy. Yeah.
Overseas.
Jeez. That's great. But here's the thing. These are people who have attacked us.
Mm-hmm.
These are people who are threatening Americans and American commerce. And world commerce, for that matter. But, we need to protect our own interests first. America dodged a bullet on Friday night, too, when the U.S. Senate voted for yet another continuing resolution. This one's supposed to fund us the rest of the year. Isn't
Really?
It? Yeah, I think so. That's what I read this morning.
Oh, I thought it was just through September. That was 6 months.
Oh, maybe it's the fiscal year.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably right. Yeah. So the rest of the fiscal year, which would be through September.
So it'd be a good time to implement a budget in 6 months, wouldn't
it, though? Yeah. I wonder if you could, I don't know, is there anybody who could maybe prepare one in the meantime?
No, there's not enough time, bro.
Can't do that in 6 months. Come on. Senator Rand Paul tried to get an amendment passed that would have permanently applied DOGE cuts of foreign aid through USAID, but nope. Republicans defeated that amendment.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. I've got the list behind me here. I'll get out of the way. Of the
ones who voted.
These are the Republicans that voted to keep all of that USAID stuff in place.
My gosh.
These are the ones that
Look at that. There are some good
the amendment. I know.
There are some good senators on that list.
And I don't know if you want to read through the list.
Oh, man.
But you're right. There's some unusual names that you wouldn't expect there.
Yeah. Crapo, for one.
Uh-huh.
So you wouldn't expect him to be on that list?
Rasso, Boozman, Capito, Cassidy, Collins, Kramer, Deb Fisher, Lindsey Graham, of course.
Lindsey Graham.
Grassley, Hoven, Hyde-Smith, Langford, McConnell, McCormick, Moran, Mullen, Murkowski, Ricketts. That shocked me. Rounds, Tim Scott, Sullivan, Thune, Tillis, Wicker.
So you notice Rand Paul, Mike Lee, not among those. Thank goodness.
Yeah. And so we had some discussion on Twitter over the weekend because that surprised me too. And I did get to thinking about this, and somebody actually tweeted at me exactly what I was thinking. And it was, okay, so if they do vote for this amendment to make the DOGE cuts permanent and take the USAID money out from overseas, I think it was a total of $16 billion, Rand Paul said, then they would have had to send it back to the House. And the House was gone already, had recessed. And so now you've got chaos. How are you going to get this? So I don't like the fact that they approved it, but I guess I can kind of understand. Look, we'll just do 6 months. But, I mean, that goes to Massey's point. It's always 6 months,
yes.
6 months, 6 months. No,
right.
Get the House back here. Let's pass Rand Paul's amendment. Let's make the DOGE cuts permanent on USAID spending overseas. And if it's worth it to you, you'll come back. So, but they didn't. They defeated his amendment, and at least the government didn't shut down, guys. That's great, right?
Yeah, that's terrific. That's terrific, because that would have been. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, which side
what
are you
a horror
on?
show.
Oh, which side are you on?
Right, thank you.
I guess that's what we have to figure out. Which side are we on? Which side? But here was Senate Minority Leader Chucky Schumer just before the vote.
Oh, yeah.
After he gave in to President Trump's continuing resolution.
To have the conflict on the best ground we have, summed up in a sentence, that they're making the middle class pay for tax cuts for billionaires, it's much, much better not to be in the middle of a shutdown, which could divert people from the number one issue we have against these bastards, these people, which is not only all these cuts, but they're ruining democracy.
Bastards.
So much there to be pissed about.
I know.
Oh, my gosh.
I love how he acts like he didn't say the bastards on purpose. Bastards, sorry. Couldn't even get the word out before he could say that. The Democrat Party is in chaos. Their base can't stand anybody in leadership.
Yeah, and they're pissed off at him for caving in like he did.
Yeah.
So you can't please the Democrats. They're never happy about anything.
Yeah, we got some interesting poll numbers later, too. That party is wrecked right now.
They're in trouble, frankly, which is great. Let's talk about better sleep, can we? And how does better sleep occur? Well, for one thing, Miracle-Made sheets keep your sheets clean because they're self-cleaning. And they've got NASA-inspired silver-infused fabrics that also keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter what the weather is. So you can say hello to better sleep every single night. Plus, as I mentioned, they're self-cleaning, so you do about a third of the laundry. They keep about 99.7% of all bacterial growth at bay. It's not allowed on these sheets. So they just stay fresh and odor-free 3 times longer. And so you don't have to feel like you're getting into something really gross when you put your sheets on your body. They're also really luxuriously soft, rivaling those of 5-star hotels, but without the crazy price tag. And they're designed for your skin. Stop sleeping on bacteria that clogs pores and causes all kinds of nastiness in your life. You don't want it. You don't need it. Go with Miracle-Made sheets. If you're ready to upgrade your sleep, go to trymiracle.com/Pat. Try them out. Order now, and you'll save over 40%. Plus, when you use the promo code Pat at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and an extra 20% off. Miracle offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk here. If you're not 100% satisfied with them, you send it back, get a full refund. Don't wait. Go to trymiracle.com/Pat. Trymiracle.com/Pat. Treat yourself. And thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring this portion of this program.
That gray is unleashed.
So Joni Ernst got booed in the Senate?
In the Senate? I thought we're supposed to have decorum.
Only if it's against Democrats does the decorum matter at all.
Interesting.
Yeah. When it's against Republicans, it's fine. Go ahead and boo. Okay. And they did.
Mr. President, since January, DOGE has saved $115 billion. That amounts to...
Order.
Please. That amounts to $714 per taxpayer.
$714 per taxpayer. Not bad. I think it's more than that. Because at least if you look at the... Remember the DOGE clock... Last time we checked, and that was like a week ago or so, it was $138 billion. She mentioned $115 billion.
Yeah.
So I don't know where she got her numbers, but they're saving us billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. That's a boo. Stop saving me money. Boo. Stop saving my grandchildren's future. Boo.
Stop trying to save the nation itself, because that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
The nation itself is being saved. And while Democrats are out there wailing about cuts, that fraudulent and wasteful spending, 2011 video has surfaced of then President Obama and his vice president, Joe Biden.
I heard of him, too.
Talking about their plans on spending cuts.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about.
Oh, DOGE.
But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Waste we should be getting rid of, even if we didn't have a deficit.
Doesn't this sound
sure,
like
some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable.
My
Not when it's
gosh.
your money. Not at a time when so many
Your money.
Americans are already cutting back. Just as
Your
families
money.
are living
Money.
within their means,
Okay.
government should too. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers?
Wait,
This is
They're
incredible.
called the Fiddlin' Foresters.
Sounds familiar. Oh, the Fiddlin' Foresters.
I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites
Desert
that we
Tourist.
should consolidate or just get rid of.
What?
By the way, you're not only paying for websites
Wow.
no one needs. You're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses.
Wait,
For the last
is
decade,
this?
the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the
They
middle of
stole
Brooklyn.
Pause it right here. Pause it for a sec. Okay, we have thousands of those buildings.
Yeah.
And they're trying to and get rid of all of them. And they're weeping and wailing and screaming about that. Mm-hmm. So he noticed it back in 2011. It's still going on now. Oh, he babbled about it. He gave lip service to it, but he did nothing about it. Now somebody's actually doing something about it. This president and his administration is finally doing something about it, and they're going out of their minds over it?
Wow.
Bizarre.
Team Trump ripping off Barack Obama's best idea.
I mean, this is incredible. It's incredible.
Sure is.
And it's almost on every issue, too. I mean, sometimes we don't remember, but if you went back on virtually any issue that makes sense to us still, at one time it made sense to them as well. But they've gone so far into left field now that nothing makes sense to them anymore. Nothing reasonable, anyway. All right, let's see if we can get through this.
Owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years.
Yeah.
But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead.
But they
we need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you. That's why, starting today, I've asked the Vice President to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every agency and department of this government. We're calling it the Campaign to Cut Waste. And I know
like Doge.
Joe's the right man to lead it.
Joe!
Because nobody messes with Joe.
There's a new standard by which the government is going to function from this point on. The American people are entitled to transparency. Look, a lot of this depends on new, sophisticated methods, but it also, we know, depends on relentless focus on making this a priority. Focus that can't be delegated. We're holding ourselves accountable, and we're deeply committed and focused on making government function better. We're not just eliminating fraud and waste. We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue. We're going to give you the government you expect and deserve.
Unbelievable. That's staggering.
It is staggering. And you noticed it came out in February of 2011. I'm trying to think, what were they doing? That wasn't a campaign season. Like, what was that all about? And it hit me just now watching this. It was on the heels of the Tea Party sweeping to power in Congress in fall of 2010.
Yeah.
They read the tea leaves and they said, "Oh crap,
We better do something.
let's act like we care about the money being spent too."
And they really didn't. But they did give lip service to it. So they called it the Campaign to Cut Waste. Completely different than the Department of Government Efficiency. That is totally different. And it turned out to be because they didn't do anything, but DOGE is doing something. Wow. I love how he talks about the wasteful expenditures in the websites and things that we were paying for that we shouldn't have been, when in fact they spent $2 billion on the Obamacare website. Remember that?
Yes.
$2 billion.
Holy crap.
On the Obamacare website alone. And it didn't work, if you remember correctly. It didn't even work when they unveiled it. when it went live, it crashed. It wasn't working. It had to be fixed. They had to bring somebody in on a $2 billion website. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, you got people who could put that together for you for slightly less than $2 billion. Like, I don't know, $1,000. Maybe $1,000 you could spend on putting together a website. Like, let's say it's $10,000. You put together something really intricate and beautiful. $25,000. But $2 billion?
Yeah, you got to have a promo code if you're going to save money on web design.
Yeah, you do. You do. But, I mean, that is... You can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. These are the things that they claim to be doing 14 years ago, and they're going out of their minds over it today. How bizarre is that? Wow. I mean, the Trump administration should be showing that as a commercial for DOGE on a nonstop loop on every channel that they can get a hold of. That's incredible. Also, on Friday, President Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi arrived at the Department of Justice. This was that big ballyhooed event that they were going to hold, and here's what happened. They walked down the hall.
Look at
that.
I do like this, though.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, I want to show you something. Look at that.
Oh, look at that. And you know he loves that.
That's a rough picture. Doesn't look like such a nice person. That's a rough picture. That's funny. You do want that picture hanging at the Department of Justice, actually.
Yeah, because it looks like he means business there. And he did. He also had some things to say.
Our predecessors turned this Department of Justice into the Department of Injustice, but I stand before you today to declare that those days are over, and they are never going to come back. They're never coming back.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. He also talked about the future of the Department of Justice.
As we begin a proud new chapter in the chronicles of American justice, this really is something. We're turning the page on 4 long years of corruption, weaponization, and surrender to violent criminals, and we're restoring fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And you're the people that are doing it. Very, very proud of all of you. Under the Trump administration, the DOJ and the FBI will once again become the premier crime-fighting agencies on the face of the earth.
That'd be nice.
People ask me, what am I going to do about law enforcement all the time? The fake news back there, they're asking me that all the time. What am I going to do? And when are you going to do it? And I answer them by saying I've already done most of it by appointing the people that I've appointed. They're sitting right here.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point, and it's true. Well, I hope it is. We're still waiting on some of the things we were promised. So we'll see when that happens.
Yeah.
I'm anxious. We're all too eager for this to actually happen, you know? But we've been waiting so long, and there's been really no reason I can think of to keep the Epstein files a secret all of this time. Why? What are you doing? Who are you covering up for? Who are you trying to protect? Let's have it once and for all. Well, we might be building a case. Go ahead and build the case, but you can't do that if we don't have the information out there. I think you could do both. I think you could expose these people and build your case. So I don't know if I buy that excuse. But it's time. It's time for total and complete transparency on all of it. It's going to happen eventually. I mean, AI is going to ensure that there are no secrets anymore. 888-900-3393. More coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Welcome. Great to have you with us. Got some tweets to share. Giblets tweets. Pat, there are some good Republicans on that list. Me, using the Jeffy voice. Are there? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, look at, I mean, usually Crapo from Idaho, pretty good. We've talked about him in a positive light before.
Are we sure it's Crapo? Is it Crapo?
Is it Crapo? I think it's Crapo.
Today it's Crapo.
Yeah, today for sure it's Crapo. Barrasso from Wyoming.
Pete
I don't know.
Ricketts.
Some of these guys.
I'm telling you, Ricketts is really conservative. I don't know.
My invidious mental tweets. Even if you show the left that clip of Obama launching his campaign against government waste, they'll say, that's different than DOGE.
That's different, man.
That'll be it.
Yeah.
The full extent of their argument. Yeah.
What was that handle again, Pat?
My invidious mental.
Oh, someone reached out to Chris Cruz about the word invidious over the weekend.
Because you said that was probably on...
Because Al Green kept using the word invidious, and we're like, what are you doing, bro? Is there like a word of the day calendar somewhere?
And there is one in BillO'Reilly.com, and the word of the day was invidious.
Just a couple weeks ago.
On.
Just
that
a
is
couple weeks ago.
That's not a coincidence.
That's not a coincidence. I'm so sorry.
So Al Green is a
great.
BillO'Reilly.com member?
Yes.
Either that or somebody said, hey, you know what? Bill O'Reilly used a really good word. You might want to try it.
Name in town. Keep it pithy. Beck.
Caffeinated Texan, Squarespace could have done the Obamacare site for $33 a month. Is that less than $2 billion, though?
That's awesome.
I mean,
I'm not good at math.
Yeah, don't do this to me on the spot like that. I don't care for that. I see what you're doing.
I mean, because you multiply that by...
I don't know, man.
How many months, how many years? Eventually that would add up to more than $2 billion.
So if we put the 18-minute together along with the 7-minute together, you got 22 minutes. You sell it with 8 minutes of ads, you got 30 minutes.
You can't argue with it. Try to. You can't.
30
so don't try.
minute.
All right. Back at the Department of Justice, the president also spoke to the issue of fentanyl and tariffs between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Here's what he had to say about that.
We're stopping the criminals pouring across our borders at record levels, and we're also stopping the massive quantities of deadly drugs. In 2023 alone, drug overdoses killed more Americans in 12 months than they did during the entire decade between 1980 and 1990, so 10 times more, but it's much higher than that. More Americans died from fentanyl last year than died in the Korean War, or the Iraq War, or the Afghanistan War, all of them combined. That's why I've placed large tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, and they will remain in place until these deadly poisons stop pouring into our country. And I will tell you, as soon as I put on the tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, unbelievable results have been seen in the last few weeks. Unbelievable results. They weren't happy about it. You probably read they weren't happy, but they are working like hell to end it. They weren't working very hard before I did that.
Right.
Huh.
I mean, the guy's a negotiator.
Okay, so hold on. They're unbelievable results. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that the tariffs may not go into effect on April 2nd?
That's what because he's negotiating still. He's still negotiating. But if they won't cave, eventually those are going to have to go into place. You might as well just assess it. If we're going to do it, let's do it. And let's see how long it takes for them to come around after it's done. But there's going to, the problem is there's going to be a little pain on our side too. So we got to be prepared for that. There's going to be, you think people are screaming about stuff now. Just wait. And that's probably, I know he's trying to avoid that because that's going to be tough to overcome with the Democrats continually, yelling and screaming about everything. That would give them something actual, concrete to scream about. I thought you were going to bring prices down. We'd never hear the end of it. Later in the day, the president headed over to Marine One with a little friend.
This is so adorable, man. Lil X.
He is a cute little guy.
Yeah.
jumping around.
So now, Trump's babysitter in chief. What are we doing here? Where's this kid's parents?
It's co-parenting.
Okay. Look at this, man. Look at this. Now watch, he stops and draws his name. That's so funny.
Oh, man.
Another way to troll. Another way to troll.
Right. Does this kid realize this? He has no understanding yet of how incredible his life is.
No, it's right. Pretty amazing.
He's going to look back on these videos and be like, oh my gosh, I remember that. That was the president? How old is that little X kid? How old is he?
Is he 4?
I think he's 4, yes.
That's a long walk to Marine One.
Right. Yeah. So now you feel bad about making fun of Joe, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a long walk.
No, we never feel bad for Joe for making fun of Joe.
Wasn't Elon?
Yeah, he's with him.
They really left him in the dust.
Yeah, he's coming.
I like this part. Picked him up. Oh, yeah.
And there he goes on the Marine One. Yeah, he's got quite the life already. Pretty cool.
Here comes Dad.
Mm-hmm. Bye. See ya. At Andrews Air Force Base, a member of the press had trouble handling a microphone.
Gaza, Mr. President. Obviously,
Oops. Hit him right in the face with it.
you're concerned about the situation in Gaza.
He didn't say anything about it. That's nice.
She just became a big story tonight.
Now he is.
You see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Do the wider angle. Do that one. Do we have that? The wider angle clip? What's the next clip? Yeah, watch this. You can see her. She's in the far left in the tan shirt. And
boom.
Wow.
Okay, you just hit the president of the United States in the face with your microphone.
Assault, bro.
She did say sorry. Yeah, if you go back and listen closely, she goes, I'm so sorry.
I don't think this is the president you want to hit on the face.
No,
he handled it well.
No, he did.
He really did.
It was fine.
I like his eyes. He's just
it was fine. Like,
okay.
Can we be a little careful with your stupid microphone?
How heavy is that? Come on now.
I'm president. You do know that, right?
I've got Secret Service here that are protecting me. They could shoot you in the head for that.
According to you, I'm Hitler. So do you want to hit me?
A lot of people made a good point online. You don't know what's on that microphone. It could be anthrax.
Oh.
I mean, you
seriously
could do some damage.
You could.
Doing something like that.
You could. If you actually meant him harm, yeah.
But no member of the press is ever going to mean harm to this president.
No, right,
so
right.
that's crazy talk.
Right. Let's not be silly. The South African ambassador to the U.S. had some less than kind things to say about President Trump and Elon Musk.
I think what Donald Trump is launching is an assault on incumbency, those who are in power. By mobilizing a supremacism against the incumbency at home. And I think I've illustrated abroad as well. So in terms of that, the supremacist assault on incumbency, we see it in the domestic politics of the USA, the MAGA movement, the Make America Great Again movement, as a response, not simply to a supremacist instinct, but to very clear data that shows great demographic shifts in the USA, in which the voting electorate in the USA is projected to become 48% white.
Oh.
And that the possibility of a majority of minorities
that's the motivation
is looming
for
on
for
the
Trump.
horizon. And so that needs to be factored in so that we understand some of the things that we think are instinctive, nativist, racist things. I think that there's data that, for example, would support that, that would go to this wall being built, the deportation movement, etc., etc.
All about
so
white supremacy.
I mentioned that.
That's amazing.
Was that guy Irish or South African?
The sun's coming out. I can feel it.
Yeah.
So Marco Rubio responded.
Yeah, he did.
South Africa's ambassador to the United States is no longer welcome in our great country. Ibrahim Rasool is a race-baiting politician who hates America and hates POTUS. We have nothing to discuss with him, and so he's considered persona non grata. Good. Excellent.
Non grata.
Good.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. I'm sick and tired of these a-holes.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Secretary of State, he went to Canada for the G7 summit, where he laid down a red mat.
Well, they laid down
a red mat instead of a red carpet.
Yeah, there's been people speculating that was kind of a slight at the U.S. I don't know. What do you think? Normally, it's this long, roll of carpet.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a mat.
Okay. I don't know. Could be. Could be a subtle little dig.
Could be.
It's possible. New prime minister officially assumed office on Friday.
Yeah.
For what that's worth.
That's weird, though. I mean, that's kind of like what Democrats did with Kamala in the primaries.
Yes, it is kind of like that.
What is that all about?
Yeah. I mean, we're hopeful that Canada will go more conservative this time.
Yeah.
But who knows?
The next election, yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be with this new prime minister. I mean, he is crazy like Trudeau.
Yeah, maybe even worse than Trudeau.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. This is interesting, though. NBC News released some poll numbers over the weekend. Do you have those available? Because I had them, and now they've disappeared.
We've got a nice video here.
Okay.
First of all, the mood of the country. This really jumped out. We asked folks, is it on the right direction or the wrong direction? That 44% who say right direction, that's up since November. And if that doesn't seem like a lot, the last time it cracked 40%, you got to go back to 2012. The last time it actually hit 44 or higher, January of 2004. So a lot of this is Republicans, but independents, that number is also up since the election on the direction of the country.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, January 2004 was the last time it was this high. We were in the middle
highest in more than 20 years.
We were in a war against terrorism at that time. And
and that always unites the country.
Yeah.
And so for this to be a non-war unification of people thinking we're on the right track, that's impressive.
There were some very interesting numbers in that poll. I like this one here. Just over a quarter of registered voters, 27%, say they have a positive view of the Democrat Party. So, 27% have a positive view of the Democrat Party. Just 7% have a very positive view of the Democrat Party.
Yeah, they're in some trouble.
They say AOC, she got the most, the highest. It wasn't much; it was single digits. But they asked who's the current leader of the Democrat Party. AOC was higher than Harris or Obama. I mean, it's in chaos. And yes, it's definitely going the right direction. Here's U.S. inflation. Trump takes office right here. This is the rate of inflation. It seems to be slowing down.
Sure does.
It sure does. I mean, it starts here.
It sure does.
Holy crap. I mean, that is so clear.
That's amazing.
Sure
is. And it's only been 3 months. All right, let me tell you about Fast Growing Trees. It is the biggest online nursery in the United States. They've got thousands of plants and over 2 million happy customers. So whether you're looking for fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, or shrubs, they've got it all. Whatever fits your climate and your space, Fast Growing Trees has you covered. Ordering's a real breeze. You can shop online, and then your plants arrive at your door in just a few days. No hassle at all. Plus, their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures that your plants show up healthy, and their plant experts are on call to help you plan and care for your dream yard. So I love these guys. They really helped us. I mean, we planted one in our front yard like from a year and a half, 2 years ago. And that definitely helped us sell the house because it just increases the curb appeal. It makes it look so much better. They have tips, too, from their planting coach that makes things really easy. And this spring, they've got deals up to 50% off on select plants. 50%. Plus, listeners get an extra 15% off your first purchase with the code PAT at checkout. That's fastgrowingtrees.com. Code PAT. It's the perfect time to plant, but this offer is limited, so don't wait. Use the promo code PAT and save today. fastgrowingtrees.com/PAT.
is Unleashed.
Remember Dr. Leana Wen? She was one of the medical experts CNN had on during the peak of COVID. Here's a bit of what she was saying back in March of 2021.
Yeah, these clips
are these long?
Yeah, it's kind of long. I mean, you could play this one, but okay.
Let's get it started here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My main concern is that we're not going to reach herd immunity because of vaccine hesitancy. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to believe who desperately want the vaccine right now. And they're thinking, oh, well, it's just a small percentage of people who are actually anti-vaxxers. And that's true. There is the anti-science, anti-vaxxer contingent. But I think that there are many more people, millions of people who, for whatever reason, have concerns about the vaccine, who just don't know what's in it for them. And we need to make it clear to them that the vaccine is the ticket back to pre-pandemic life. And the window to do that is really narrowing. I mean, you were mentioning, Chris, about how all these states are reopening. They're reopening at 100%. And we have a very narrow window to tie reopening policy to vaccination status. Because otherwise, if everything is reopened, then what's the carrot going to be? How are we going to incentivize people to actually get the vaccine? So that's why I think the CDC and the Biden administration needs to come out a lot bolder and say, if you're vaccinated, you can do all these things. Here are all these freedoms that you have. Because otherwise, people are going to go out and enjoy these freedoms anyway.
I represent science.
Well, you don't want that. You don't want people being free unless they've had something injected into their body they don't want injected into their body.
But that's not free if I'm forced to get that.
No, you'll be free after that, though. But
just be free now.
No, just take the vaccine and shut up, would you please?
So that was Chinese-born Dr. Leana Wen in March of 2021.
Okay, now we're going to, in a minute or two, well, a few minutes, after the top of the hour, we're going to show you what she says 4 years later now. The tune has changed with all of these boneheads. All of a sudden, things are completely different now, and don't pay any attention to what I said back then. Jeez, that's incredible. All right, we got more, and Dr. Wen, see what she has to say now. Coming up.
I represent science.
Oh, which side are you on?
Pat Gray, Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Great to have you with us. 888-900-3393. We're going to get into what Dr. Wen had to say recently after hearing what she did say 4 years ago about how we can get our freedom back. We'll get into that in a minute. First, let me tell you about Pure Health. We're not getting any younger, right? And if you want to look and feel your best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements that are designed to help with every health goal that you could have. Whether it's boosting your energy, trimming belly fat, supporting healthy blood sugar, pumping up your testosterone, or even reducing swelling in your legs, Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients backed by clinical research and manufactured right here in the USA. And here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering you an exclusive 35% discount right now. 35%. Just go to Pure Health Research, all one word, purehealthresearch.com. Use the coupon code PAT at checkout. And they've got a 365-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying something new. Why wait? Go to purehealthresearch.com right now and check out their 45 amazing supplements while you can save 35%. Okay? The deal ends who knows when. So take advantage of this while you still can. purehealthresearch.com.
Now, more of Pat Gray Unleashed.
So we heard from Dr. Leana Wen before the break. She was talking in 2021 about COVID and how we can get our freedoms back. If you want them back, you can't give them the freedom to wander about wherever they want to go right now. But if they get the vaccine, then they can have freedom.
Yeah, carrot and stick. She literally said that.
Incredible. So that's what she said then. Here's what she's saying now.
But I could see how people may feel as if they cannot ask them, because maybe they did ask them, and what they got back, not from their physicians, but from somebody else, was, oh, well, this is a conspiracy theory, rather than addressing the question head on. And I know that from my patients, I got asked questions specifically about the vaccine that they had heard from somewhere that were important to address, and that there was some truth behind. For example, people were concerned about the impact of the vaccines on women were concerned about the impact of the vaccines on their menstrual periods. Well, as it turns out, there have been studies that have shown that there may be some changes to the menstrual period in the short term. But addressing that is not a conspiracy theory. It's addressing this question and then saying, here's the research that we know around this. Or I know that for some time, for the first couple of years, the questions around natural immunity from the immunity that you get from infection, those questions were all dismissed. Because, yes, it is true that we didn't want people to just go out and have chickenpox parties and get infected all at once. But it's also true that you do have immunity after, not lifelong immunity.
Isn't that
you get some degree of pretty good immunity after having infection.
Yeah, better than the vaccine.
I think that addressing those nuances and being clear with people about what we know and what we don't know and what we believe is the case based on ongoing research, but this could change. I think that leaning into the nuances rather than backing away and just saying, well, you're wrong and I'm right. And
like you did.
I think that that may be a
ago.
lesson.
Yeah, it might be a lesson. Good lesson.
That we learn, especially because we also know that if people keep on hearing that their questions are being dismissed, they're much more likely to go to the source, as you were saying, like an RFK Jr., who will say, well, let's ask this question. And you know what? If we can ask this question, why not also this question? If you think they're lying to you about this, then maybe they're also lying to you about X, Y, and Z.
You are.
And then they wonder. And then they wonder why we think we're being lied to all the time. And the answer is because we are being lied to.
These people
all the time.
Will never be held to account.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
There'll be talk shows playing clips of them like this. And
even though they're admitting it all now. They're admitting it little by little. It is all coming out from the same people who told us we were crazy and conspiratorial and harming and killing grandparents. That's what we were told. We were the problem. The unvaccinated are the ones who are causing this terrible death all across the country and the world because you won't do what you're supposed to do and get vaccinated. Oh. And then all of a sudden, no, we were wrong about pretty much everything. Yeah, it wasn't a conspiracy that it came from the lab in Wuhan. It did come from the lab in Wuhan. Okay, and if you were vaccinated, that didn't mean you weren't going to get the virus, because you probably were. Oh, and yeah, the vaccine itself caused an awful lot of health problems that we didn't admit to then, but there's research that shows you were right. Now we're concerned about certain things.
Still waiting for my winter of severe illness and death. President Biden declared for those of us that are unvaccinated. Hey, as long as we're talking about Wuhan and COVID and the origins there, keep an eye out on the USDA Southeast Poultry Research Laboratory down in Georgia. A lot of people calling for it to be investigated by federal authorities ASAP, because there's a lot of evidence out there that says that there was some gain of function research happening with the bird flu.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah. Cool. We'll see if that goes
Is it a surprise? No, it's not a surprise. Some breaking news from President Trump. The pardons, he writes, that sleepy Joe Biden gave the unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect.
Oh, wait, what?
Can you do that?
I don't know.
Can he do that? No, presidential pardon is a presidential pardon.
Yeah, but wait, he's got a reason.
All right. Okay, that's right. Go a little bit further. Because of the fact that they were done by Autopen. In other words, Joe Biden didn't sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them.
Right.
The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them. And the people that did may have committed a crime. Therefore, those on the unselect committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtained during their 2-year witch hunt of me and many other innocent people should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is, they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge or consent of the worst president in the history of our country, crooked Joe Biden.
Boy,
that's
is this going to end up in court?
Probably.
And when it does,
sure it is. Of course it is.
This court will just, because they don't want to disrupt the apple cart. They don't like chaos. Even if he's got a great point, they'll be like, no, they're good.
This mega MAGA Supreme Court supposedly has turned out not to be that much of a mega MAGA Supreme Court, frankly. So, I bet they get in the way of whatever he wants to do.
Said that this is all a win-win. He says it will force SCOTUS to adjudicate this, and it will inject these unpopular pardons back into the news cycle and force Democrats to politically defend them.
I like it. Okay. That is good.
Good.
Great analysis, Steve. You should do this talk show thing for a living.
Might want to try it.
That's awesome. That's good.
Also, on the immigration front, Stephen A. Smith sat down with Tom Homan for about a half hour. And here's a clip from that interview.
You're considered one of the masterminds of the first Trump administration's infamous zero tolerance policy, which led to the separation of thousands of migrant children from their parents in the eyes of many at the very least. The idea led to the separation of more than, I think, 4,000 children from their parents, and some were lamenting that some of them were put in cages. How do you answer these questions? For those that don't know, how do you answer questions like that, like I just posed to you, in terms of 4,000 children being separated from their parents?
Absolutely. So where does zero tolerance come from? Zero tolerance came from this. 31% of women that make their journey get raped by the criminal cartels. Children were dying on that border every day. Dying. Either drowning in a river, dying making that journey. Children were sexually assaulted, and children were dying in the desert. You know, they made that journey, and a lot of women and children not only died, many were sexually assaulted. So we said, look, how can we save lives? How can we stop the sexual assault of children? So we said, look, let's prosecute them because it's a crime to enter this country illegally. So if we prosecute them and put them in jail, maybe the numbers go down, maybe less will come. And it worked. Zero tolerance, the numbers of families putting themselves in harm's way and putting themselves in the hands of criminal cartels dropped significantly. However, the sad part about it, the unfortunate part about it, is that when you prosecute a parent and put them in jail, the child won't go with them. And I'll say this. I started as a police officer in New York. Police agencies across this country separate families 1,000 times a day across this country because the child doesn't go to jail with a parent. And I've said during my testimony, and one time I was testifying at Hill, when I was a cop in New York, when I went to domestic violence call and I arrested the father, I separated that family. Child can't go to jail with them. When I arrested a DUI and he had a child in the car, I separated that family. It's an unfortunate and saddest part of law enforcement. Families get separated when the parents get arrested. So we do let the families 1,000 times a day in this country with Americans, but they want a different set of rules for illegal aliens. But the whole intent of doing this was to save lives with less sexual assaults on women and children. That was the whole purpose for it. But they keep harping on that Trump's family separation policy, and you're right, about 4,000, but they don't talk about the 500,000, 500,000 separations that this administration was responsible for, because they sent a message to the whole world. If you're a child and you're crossing this country illegally, you're not going to be deported. We'll deliver you to the very same people who paid a criminal cartel to smuggle you into this country. So, you know, what we did was try to save lives and decrease sexual assaults. What they did was send a message to the whole world. Child can cross the border. We'll get them to the final destination at government expense and reward the people who paid the criminal cartels to bring them. And that's why the numbers exploded, because there's no consequence. We had a consequence. They didn't.
That's an incredibly compelling answer that you just gave. I can't refute it. No one should, as far as I'm concerned, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome aboard,
Done.
Stephen A. Smith.
This no-nonsense administration is so good at explaining why they do the things they do. It just may turn, it's turning people around, like Stephen A. Smith. Man, his show is becoming more and more political all the time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is a separate thing from his ESPN deal, but still, that's supposedly he's going to run for president next time around.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's kind of weird.
I don't know, but they had the show the video of the prison down in El Salvador, please. Right? Which one is that, Chris? Which clip did you send in on that one? Or is this 33 Venezuela? Okay, send this because we sent back the gang members here, and there's that awesome Supermax to infinity prison. And you
in
had
El Salvador, right?
Is this the Venezuela?
Yes, this is that mega
but it's
prison
in
Venezuela.
El Salvador.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they agreed to take back take the Venezuelan gang members.
Yes.
Bukaki, whatever his name is.
Because we paid him.
Okay.
He said it's a low fee for the United States, but it's a very high fee for us.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
But look, that people are pissed off that we're sending these guys, that we're deporting gang members.
Oh, yeah.
Vicious, brutal gang members. Yep. We should let them stay?
Yeah, well, you had the Obama
What's the
judge.
matter with you?
What's that guy's name? Bosberg, something. Anyway, he ruled over the weekend, right, that you got to stop.
Yeah.
You got to stop.
Yes. It's trying to stop the deportation of these thugs from Venezuela.
So the planes were already in the air, reportedly out of U.S. airspace, and there was a break.
And they said, too late.
Well, there was a break in the trial, the teleconference trial, and that's when they shipped him out before the order came down, right?
So great.
And then he gets on the video screen and says, "Hey, turn those planes around." It wasn't in his order. It was just this verbal comment that he made. It's not backed by force of law. So
sorry.
See ya.
Nope.
You're already there, bro.
It's amazing.
Yeah, these judges are out of control, man. This has got to stop. This has got
just
to stop.
Ridiculous.
They hate our country, and they're doing what they can from the bench.
Yep.
To hurt us. In Trump.
All right, let me take a minute and tell you about one of the best things in life, and that's tender, delicious, juicy steak. Man, I love it. And I especially love it when it comes from a cow that was raised right here in Texas. If you want to buy beef from a family-owned, fifth-generation ranch like I do, look no further than Tri-Tails Beef. You can bring premium Texas beef to your table because these are top-tier cuts of meat. They're hand-packed and delivered directly to you. USDA Prime and choice beef with high-end Black Angus genetics that ensures that every single bite is going to be consistently delicious. No grass-fed gimmicks here. Just premium, flavorful beef that's raised the right way and balanced for tenderness and marbling. That means these cattle are pasture-raised and grain-finished by Texans who care about the quality of their product. I just love this steak. It's fantastic. If you'd like to give it a shot, please do. Go to trybeef.com/PatGray. Use the promo code PatGray. Get 5% off your first order on a one-time purchase. That's trybeef.com/PatGray. Promo code PatGray.
Living up the end of the world. Pat Gray returns next.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. And, of course, Threads. Haven't said that in so long, I forgot the name of it for a minute. I mean, that is
every day.
That is something that nobody talks about. You ever hear anybody talking about Threads?
Only if you're in Instagram circles.
Yeah, okay.
No, you say like,
Even then.
I've got a thread hanging off my shirt here.
Yeah, that's the only way you hear about it. The president addressed the Epstein files release while he was sitting down with Sharyl Attkisson. And here's what he had to say about that. Went a little something.
I don't know. It's on here somewhere. 31?
Like this.
31.
Cut 31.
A lot of intrigue surrounding the release of the Epstein files, Martin Luther King files, John F. Kennedy files. Some current and former FBI agents are saying, some of them telling me, that they feel the FBI establishment came out ahead in the standoff sort of with the New York FBI field office over releasing the records and your Attorney General Pam Bondi demanding them but not getting all that she wanted. Is that process still on track? I think that's one of the most often questions I've been asked the last couple of days, to release these records on Epstein, MLK, and JFK.
Well, Pam Bondi's done a phenomenal job in every respect. And there could have been some holdback. I haven't heard too much about it, but they could. But the bottom line is the records are getting out. The Kennedy records are getting out. Those are the ones I really wanted to see the most, with the Kennedys. And during my administration, as you know, I released a lot of them, but then a lot of people started coming in, people that I respected, people that worked for the administration, asked me not to release the rest. And I respected that.
Why?
They gave me certain reasons, but I respected
what were
that.
They?
And
why?
I did say, I must tell you, I said that probably wish I did release the whole thing, because I have no idea what's in there. But since then they found, and we found 2,000 more documents on Kennedy. And the one they want most is Kennedy, and it's going to be released. It's moving along, and it's moving along pretty rapidly.
It's moving along? What does that mean?
Go that
weeks
rapidly.
maybe, or longer?
I say weeks. Yeah, I say weeks.
What is moving along?
Yeah, I don't know.
Release it. I mean, it's been 70 years. Not quite, but almost 70 years. Come on.
Yep.
Literally 62 years.
Yeah.
Okay? Enough. I'm tired of hearing it's moving along, or I released some of them and then people came to me. No, I'm done with that. I'm just done with it. Release the files. What do you have to move along? Release the files. It's 62 years ago. How could it possibly hurt us national security-wise? It can't. It can't. No matter who did it, no matter who's responsible, no matter which conspiracy theory is true, whether it was the Cubans, the Russians, the CIA, LBJ in league with the CIA, whatever it was, we can handle it now. It was 62 years ago. I can't. I just can't take the words moving along. It's moving along. What do you... 62 years! How long does it take? Come on!
That almost feels like a Pat screech.
62 years! That was definitely a Pat screech, I'd say. For Epstein, what are we going on, 8 years? When did he die? Was it 2017, 2019? When did that happen?
19, I think. 2019?
Come on. Come on already. On the Epstein thing, there can't be national security involved. Release those files. I mean, what kind of national security could be at risk? Now, it might be people high up, but so what? That doesn't hurt our security.
I want to know who Jeffrey Epstein was working with to blackmail our politicians and our leaders. I think that is the case.
That's probably the key sticking point right there.
MLK files, what's national security about that?
I don't know. 62 years ago? I don't know. I don't know how that could hurt us in any way, shape, or form. It couldn't.
And I know people are forgetting, but...
Well, his family doesn't even think that... What's his name? Ray, the shooter guy of MLK. They didn't even think he was...
MLK's?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
But, we've forgotten that he also said he's going to release the UFO files. I know y'all care about that, but...
I do care about that.
I want to know about the UFO files.
I do, too. I do too.
Especially after you showed that stupid trailer last week. I'm like, dang it, man.
I know.
What is in those files?
I know. That one, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that is the most sensitive.
Yes.
Maybe that's the most sensitive as far as national security. I don't know. Maybe we do have alien technology and we're trying to reverse engineer it.
We do. Yes. Correct.
You know?
I've been reading a book.
I hope that's the case.
Me too.
I want it to be the case.
Me too.
Let's do it. If we have them, let's do it.
Hurry up, Tom.
I doubt that we have them, but okay.
To your point, I'm reading a book that spends an entire chapter going over all of the, if you look at when these different companies that were in close proximity physically to the
Area
U.S.
51.
military.
Yeah.
So the materials from Roswell end up at this location, and then there's a company, and then you look at the patents that were filed right after that, you're like,
Really?
Okay then.
Really?
Here we are. Let's go.
That's interesting. I'd like to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah.
Who wrote the book?
There's a couple guys. I'll get it for you.
All right.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
I like that. That's
that might be a fun show, Friday show.
It's intense.
Yeah, I like intense. Let's have it. Let's talk to them.
Yeah,
if they will. Wow, because it's just frustrating now. Just frustrating. And it doesn't matter what president is in office; they're going to have the same garbage to have to deal with. And Trump's obviously dealing with it again. He dealt with it the first time. He admits that. People came to him and said, please don't release this. I'll bet they're doing the same thing now.
I tell you, man.
Tell them to stick it up the rectal cavity. We're releasing it. Okay?
Sideways, right?
Yes. Sideways.
No.
Reverse engineer it. I don't know. Whatever.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Great to have you with us. 888-900-3393. California Democrats mocked God in prayer by reciting Beyonce lyrics for the prayer. Went a little something like this.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, members, and guests. Let us pray. Raise your hands, breathe in deep. Get yourself a new pair of boots, a shiny buckle, and a wide-brimmed hat. And sing praise as we enter the Cowboy Carter era. Ask yourself, as Queen Bee asks us all, can we stand for something? Now is not the time to face the wind, my friends. Now ain't the time to pretend. Now is the time to let love in. Together, can we stand? Members, now is not the time for alligator tears. You see, just like
This is
Beyonce,
pathetic.
my family lived and died in America. Good old USA. A whole lot of red in that white and blue. History can't be erased. You looking for a new America? Are you tired? Work at time and a half for half the pay? I just pray that we don't crash because I keep my Bible on the dash. We got to keep the faith. Members, keep the faith. California, keep the faith. And the members say, amen.
Wow.
Cool.
Gee.
Where's that
California.
lightning bolt where you need it?
Yeah.
They can't have ours.
Yeah.
It's already been abused.
To the point where, look at, the bottom doesn't even exist of it. On the
Unacceptable.
There's no
where
point
is
to the lightning
rest
bolt.
of that
anymore.
bolt?
I don't know.
Somebody picked it up off the floor and probably have it in a museum at this point.
Probably.
But California, man.
That's embarrassing.
Yep.
It's embarrassing. In addition to being blasphemous, but is that acceptable to the rest of the assembly there? That's pretty amazing. Wow. On a happier note, J.D. Vance had a message for protesters over the weekend.
We've got this great event, this great facility, great business, and of course, great workers. And I'm sure all of us saw there were a few protesters outside. And I can't be the only person wondering, it's a little after noon on a Friday, and don't you all have jobs? Who are the people? And I think that's one of the reasons why we've got to rebuild American manufacturing and support great companies like Vantage Plastics, because we want those people to get off the streets and back to work. It'd be good for them, and it'd be good for everybody else, too.
Yes, it would. Yeah, it would.
Well, I mean, we've got Oh, gosh. I don't think it's here. I mean, it's just more and more due to DOGE's efforts, all of the funding that we've been paying with our tax dollars to these professional protesters. I mean, it's just shocking. It's never ending. And this is how they have been able to become a machine.
Yeah.
We're paying for it.
Yeah.
Yay!
Congratulations, America. Hopefully it's going to change, though. It's, starting to. At least people are aware of what's going on, like never before. I mean, we've always known there's waste and there's fraud, but I don't think to this extent we've ever had this kind of transparency where they're sharing it with us every single day. The Utah legislature just proposed a ban on pride flags in schools. It's about time. I mean, it's pissed off the people at the Sundance Film Festival, of course. That's Robert Redford's organization. And so they're upset about it, and they're probably going to move the Sundance Film Festival from Park City to somewhere else now. Boulder, Colorado would be a good place.
Oh, yeah, it would.
And that's where they're thinking about. It's one of the places they're actually thinking about. And Cincinnati's the other one. I don't.
Wait.
Maybe they're the only two places in the world that wanted it. I don't know.
Which one of these is not like the others?
I know. Yeah.
Are we serious?
Yeah. Cincinnati. Okay. Weird, but okay. Aspen, Colorado might be a decent substitute for Park City. I don't know, but we'll see if it leaves Utah. It's been there for a long time, a really long time, and it helped make the Sundance Film Festival what it is today, and Sundance, of course, helped Park City too. But here's what Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall said as she voiced her support for Utah's LGBTQIA2+ movement. There is not a state in this nation where inclusivity, diversity, and empathy aren't under attack. And everyone has a role in standing up for those values. It's just the opposite of that, Aaron. There's not a state, city, town, village where traditional values in this country are not under attack. You can't get away from this anytime, anywhere. She said Salt Lake City will never stop supporting our neighbors, including the LGBTQIA community, and Sundance is an incredible partner in that support. The power of amplifying voices and creating change through art is needed now more than ever in this ongoing work. Now, the problem is that this effort, this agenda, has reorganized our society. She's wondering, what were they thinking in the Utah legislature? Well, they were thinking about keeping sexual preferences out of our school system. How about if we leave that to the parents and not the school system to educate our kids on sexuality? Since when did public education become the place where you're going to teach them about homosexuality, transgenderism, all of these things? I don't want that for my kids at school. I certainly didn't when they were in school. And that's why we homeschooled, because we didn't want a part of that. But they're all hacked off over this situation in Utah, Salt Lake City is one of the most gay-friendly cities in the country. And to just keep the pride flags and things out of schools, that's really too much to ask? We have gone so far the other way into from being kind or accepting of people to now we're supposed to embrace and support everything they do and then promote everything they do. And the problem is that's the agenda has never been acceptance, because they got that a long time ago. That was one of the things with the gay marriage situation. They used to ask us all the time, well, what do you care if I marry who I marry? What do you care what I do in my bedroom? I don't care. What I care about is your ultimate agenda, though, and that's changing our civilization. That's the fundamental transformation of our civilization. And years ago, there was a gathering of gay activists, and one of the leaders at that conference said the quiet part out loud when she said this.
I agree. It's a no-brainer that we should have the right to marry. But I also think equally that it's a no-brainer that the institution of marriage should not exist.
Oh, okay. Well, you just kind of threw that out there, too. Oh, by the way, the institution of marriage should not exist. That's one of the most important institutions in civilization there, hun. So, yeah, and they cheer it. Yay! She said the quiet part out loud!
That causes my brain some trouble.
Yeah.
And part of it, why it causes me trouble, is because fighting for gay marriage generally involves lying about what we're going to do with marriage when we get there. Because we lie that the institution of marriage is not going to change. And that is a lie. The institution of marriage is going to change, and it should change. And again, I don't think it should exist. I don't like
Thank you for sharing
taking part in creating fictions about my life. That's sort of not what I had in mind when I came out 30 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, thank you for sharing that. One of the few that would actually admit what the agenda was at the time. And look at how far we've come since then. Not only has gay marriage been normalized, but everything else is normalized. The parades are normalized. The flags are normalized. You have to embrace it. You have to make it part of your website. You have to use Facebook to promote their lifestyle. All of these things have happened since. That's the problem here. That's why in Utah they've suggested or put out this legislation, which hasn't been voted on yet. But that's why they're saying, hey, let's keep the pride flags out of schools. Can we do that? I mean, nobody's flying heterosexual flags in schools. Why? Why does this have to happen? It's incredible. It's incredible. So good riddance to the Sundance Film Festival from Park City if they leave over this. Good luck with that. Start it up somewhere else. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, on a more somber note, this is really sad because this is a person who was caught up in all of this stuff as a teenager, and she's, I don't know, early 20s now. I guess this came out first about a year ago. It's making the rounds again online. This is a woman who is really, really sad about the fact that she transitioned as a teenager.
And this is in front of the New Hampshire Assembly?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Her name is Katie Lennon, and she talks about the terrible mutilation of her body when she was a teenager. Listen to this. It's heartbreaking.
I'm a detransitioner, and I live in Lowell, but I work, worship, and do business in Nashua. And so I'm an active community member of the 603, and I'm here in support of SB 272 today. So like many children and teens today, I identified myself as transgender for years. And when I started to feel confused and ashamed about my developing body, I asked everyone in my life to call me by a new name and use male pronouns to refer to me. So in other words, I went through a social transition from female to male. Everyone in my life immediately affirmed my new identity, either out of full support for it or just to stay neutral and not cause any issues. But the constant affirmation, both active and passive, solidified me in my transgender identity. No one meant to lock me into an identity that would later leave me broken, ashamed, and more confused than before. They were really all just being nice. But the social transition eventually wasn't enough, and I soon felt I needed to take testosterone. And when that wasn't enough, I had a double mastectomy. And when that still wasn't enough, I had a total hysterectomy, including the removal of my uterus, cervix, fallopian tubes, and both ovaries. There's no point of contentment during a gender transition. We get fleeting moments of euphoria, but ultimately one step leads straight into the next. And I thought that in the end I could really become a man, but all I became was a mutilated and abused version of my old self. Social transition is a big deal, and we're lying when we say that any of this is reversible. This is a big decision with lifelong consequences, and New Hampshire doesn't even require that parents be involved. If the roles of mother and father don't include authority over the emotional, social, and physical future of their children, the roles no longer mean anything. Like me, transgender-identifying youth have a high risk for depression. The Trevor Project, which is an LGBT advocacy group, reports that 45% of LGBT teens have seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year. More than half of that number is transgender-identifying youth. Teachers and school administrators are mandated reporters, and if a child is suspected to be 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than the other students his age, his parents have a right to know, and SB 272 will ensure that parents are notified if their children are identifying with a high-risk community and will allow the parents to decide the next best step for their child. Please vote in support of SB 272, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Man, I mean, it just shows you how irreversible this process is. I mean, what is she supposed to do now? She had a double mastectomy. She had her uterus removed. That still didn't make her a man. It couldn't change her chromosomes. So, somewhat difficult there. And it's really sad that she was lied to.
Yeah, and all your
pushed along that process.
All of her allies at the time on the radical left, they abandoned them.
You bet.
And it's
yep.
Thanks for being useful for our movement. The end.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Yeah, where are they now? Nowhere. Just like you said, they don't care. All right, let's talk for a second about emergency preparedness because it is really important. We live in a world that's constantly changing in ways that a lot of times we don't even see coming. But one thing that will always remain the same is the need to be ready right now. Some emergency preparedness vitals include emergency contacts, a plan for evacuation routes, meeting places, getaway bag with important documents, flashlights with batteries, and non-perishable food. And of course, you should really consider having a Jace case as part of that equipment. I can't recommend these highly enough. If you're the type of person who wants to be prepared when disaster strikes, you're absolutely going to want this for your home. The Jace case is a personalized emergency kit. It contains essential antibiotics and medications that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections, provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. And you can get ivermectin if you want as an add-on. Go to jace.com and you can enter their giveaway or just purchase your own case right now. Enter the promo code PAT at checkout and you'll get a discount on your order. That's promo code PAT at jace.com.
Pat Gray Unleashed now continues.
Do you want to, hey, Chris sent in some videos from Tesla. I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, Pat, but, Teslas are being vandalized everywhere, dealerships, chargers.
Mm-hmm.
But individuals are having their vehicles damaged by freaks on the left. Yeah, like watch this here. You got this guy pulling in here. So the camera is on a Tesla. This guy...
It's on Sentry mode, which is always recording. So if you have a Tesla, please turn that Sentry mode on.
Yeah, I have a buddy who backed into his Tesla because of Sentry mode.
Oh.
In a parking lot, yeah.
Well.
So this guy gets out and, he's drinking the Haterade, I guess, and thinks that anybody...
It's okay for him to do whatever he wants to a Tesla because he doesn't like Elon Musk.
Yep.
Yeah, this is just nuts.
And how ironic he's wearing a USA jacket, and you see he's already planning this. He's got it in his hand. Now, he's not going to do it yet. He's like, is anybody around? I'm going to make sure no one's around. Oh, there comes a car. I'm just wandering around here. I mean, he is hell-bent on doing this, and then boom, there goes the key.
So he keys it.
Keys the car. Okay, so... This video was circulating on Friday, right? I mean, it did not take long.
Yes.
Hey, Internet, do your thing. And then, lo and behold, Someone stumbled onto this
Did
guy.
you just key a Tesla the other day? What? You're on video. Yeah. This is the guy. You just keyed a Tesla. You got a video online. I just saw it. It's all over the face.
Okay.
The media.
Keynote Tesla?
Yes, you.
I didn't key no Tesla.
Parking lot somewhere around here. What do you got to say about that?
I didn't do that.
Well, you're on video. I said I plainly saw you doing it. You pulled up right next to it and then you keyed it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bet?
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, same guy wearing the same jacket.
I mean, they got your license plate. I'm surprised you haven't been contacted by the police yet.
Let him do it.
I mean, what do you have to say? I mean, I saw you do it. I'm just curious. I mean, just because of Elon, you're wearing a USA T-shirt, driving a Korean car. Why would you key an American car? The guy's probably a Democrat that owns it. I think it's a woman. I mean, I'm just curious why you did that. You just don't have anything to say about that? Neither one of you guys do?
Nope.
Okay. You're handicapped, too. I mean, this is just kind of ridiculous.
Sure is. Unbelievable.
Well, good luck to you, sir. Hope you learned a lesson.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
So has he been...
Yeah, what's the latest on this? Do we know?
Chase Bank.
He hasn't even been charged or anything yet?
What? Go get him.
Gosh. That's unbelievable.
There's a lot of lessons on this.
How's that possible?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's incredible.
And I think one lesson, other than, don't be a jerk and don't damage other people's property, it's that always assume. So I tell my kids, there are cameras
everywhere
recording everything you do. Just assume that.
Yep.
Because I'm not saying it's okay to key a vehicle. I'm just saying, just assume that if you're going to do that,
somebody's going to see you.
Yep.
Yeah. You're going to be seen. And it's not, of course, he hasn't suffered any consequences yet, but hopefully he will. Man. I mean, that is just the weirdest. You're sick in the head because Elon Musk is doing something you don't like, you start keying vehicles that his company manufactures that don't belong to him anymore. Okay, they're somebody else's. Somebody else paid a lot of money for that car, and you don't care because you're angry at Elon.
I don't like
asinine.
Bill Gates. I think the guy is a absolute.
I don't either.
Evil SOB, responsible for the deaths of so many.
Do you break a lot of Microsoft computers?
I'm thinking about taking a sledgehammer to my laptop after the show.
Are you?
Of course, it has nothing to do with Bill Gates. It's just that it's constantly giving me fits. But I mean, it's just weird. There's so many mentally ill people in this country, in this world, that you just pass every day. And it's like, what do you do?
What is this from the Pfizer CEO on the vaccine liability shields?
Oh, yeah, let's play this. This is interesting here. This is leftover from last week. We didn't get to this. Let's play this.
Cut 27.
Okay.
Albert, it's great to have you on. Thanks for being with us. I realize it's only one piece of a broader portfolio, but it is the piece that continues to get outsized attention, and that is your vaccine portfolio. Vaccine makers like yourself largely shielded from liability. If the products are safe and effective, what is the need to continue to shield, to have these liability shields? And what happens if those shields are changed or go away completely?
CNBC.
If the product is not safe and effective, we'll never get approval from FDA or from the other health authorities. They are very strict when they are approving products, particularly for vaccines, because exactly is given to healthy people.
Pause it. They certainly weren't in this case. They were not strict
emergency
in
authorization.
This case. Right. All of that stuff, all of the checks and balances were tossed right out the window to get this thing done fast. And granted, I mean, they had the approval of the U.S. government behind them to do that. But all of that aside, why do you need the protections if it's deemed by the FDA to be safe and effective? Then why would you need to be shielded? All right, let him go.
However, in a system that litigations can flourish, anyone can create a demand that the accident in the car happened because of a vaccine. And with the jury, it's going to be maybe a flip of a coin. And this is, I think, why the Congress, it was not an administration, had passed this legislation that is protecting those that they have approval from the FDA from further liabilities.
Okay, because people could make the point that the vaccine caused them a car accident.
Yep, nailed it.
That's what we're supposed to believe? Oh, okay.
You want to believe that time is running out on these bastards, but...
It's not. It's not. They're going to be fine. All right, we got overtime coming up, and then we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.